So ever since I did my tire rotation, I get this message whenever I start the vehicle. So I typically end up with a check TPM system. So that only happened after I did the tire rotation. For me, that means that the tire that was on the spare, which is now in the back right, has a faulty TPMS sensor, and now the vehicle doesn't know where they're located. Instead of doing this the easy way and just bring it to garage, I'm going to tear apart the tire and change the valve myself. So what I'm going to do is remove the valve here. That'll deflate the tire. Once it's deflated, I'll simply use my high lift to push down on the tire here, debead it. I'll use the the receiver as a point for that. So you just got to be careful as you're doing this so you don't lose the valve. So while the tire is finishing airing down, I might as well get the sensor ready. So I'm going to take it off the existing valve, since I'll be keeping the existing valve in the rim. So in this one, it happens to be a T10. So I'll just remove this. The important thing is, depending on your year of Wrangler, they have changed these sensors a few times, both the design and the frequency. So just make sure that you're getting the right type for your vehicle. This is a 2012, so uses the 315 megahertz frequency range. 2013 and up uses a different one. And also the type of valve has changed quite a bit over the years, so just make sure you get the right one. And this is going to end up being a really good trail spare, so I'm going to put this in my tire kit. Might as well do a little bit of maintenance on the high lift while we're at it. Make sure that everything moves freely. This one does live outside the vehicle year-round, so it does get a little bit more wear and tear. Alright. So now with a piece of wood near the rim, let's see if we can unseat the bead. It's important to make sure that the edge of the high lift can clear the rim. Boom, success. And now I can actually see the sensor. I just got to make sure I can get the tool in there to loosen it. So now I can compare the two. Both are made in the UK. They each have their own part number. The black one, which was on the tires, says 315 megahertz. At least I know I've got the right frequency range. Now it's just a question of reinstalling it on the stem, then reseating the tire. So now it's just a question of tightening it down. The torque's 10, so it's not like you gotta go super tight. Just want to make sure it's snug so it doesn't end up loosening itself over time. There we go. And now, question of loosening the pressure on the tire. And taking the high lift out of the way. So one of the things that I've seen a few people do on trails when they pop a bead, if they don't have a compressor that's strong enough, or one of those fancy CO2 tanks, is they, with the vehicle mounted, they wrap a strap around it and then they turn it. So that's what we're going to do today. So here I'm just twisting. I'm going to add a little bit of water here. Soapy water would be better, but I don't have any with me. But at least water will be better than nothing to give it a little bit more chance of this just sliding on. And the good old trusty garage air compressor. So it's usually a question of getting enough of the tire seated for it to want to push up against the rim. You can see it moving. It's about to pop. It's darn close. There we go. Now it's a question of taking out the right amount of air pressure, installing all the lug nuts, going for a drive. So I went for a drive around the block. Now we can see that the force senses are back. Definitely not something I would want to try on a trail. Even if I had just to change the valve stem, it would be definitely one of those last attempts. I had a whole lot of issues getting the tire seated back on without using the full-size air compressor. Hope this was interesting for you. Thanks for watching.